TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas.
Good evening and welcome to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat. Today we have a marvelous and amazing guest. Her name is Jessica Hill, and I'm so excited to have her here. Not only is she an influencer, but she's a speaker and author. So welcome, Miss Jessica.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Awesome, thank you.
That's good. That's good. So Jessica, tell us, who is Jessica Hill?
Jessica Hill is a wife, a mother of 4, and a phenomenal woman. I love motivating others. I love just building a community. I love giving. That's a little bit about me.
And where are you from?
I'm from Pompano Beach, Florida. I normally say Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because most people don't know when you say Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they don't know.
That is so true, so true. So, what brought you to Georgia?
What brought me to Georgia, my mom, she actually moved out to Nashville, Tennessee, and I wanted to get closer to my mom. So I moved here to Atlanta, which put me 3 hours away from her now, and we're still able to go down to Pompano Beach, Florida to visit my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and a host of aunts, uncles, and cousins.
Oh, okay, okay. So what or who has impacted who you are today?
My grandfather, the late James Young Sr. from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, him being the amazing guy that he was for the family, he kept everyone together. He always wanted the best for everyone, worked hard to get what he has today for the family since he's not here. So he worked hard to make sure that everyone was taken care of in the family.
Oh, okay. Well, how has that impacted your life? And
That's
who
what
you
I've been.
are?
That's basically what I've been doing. I've been working hard for my kids. I've been doing a lot more so they can have more. You know, also with the help of my husband, pushing hard for the family, pushing hard for our 4 children, and also for our parents.
Oh, okay. Influencer. Tell me, what makes you an influencer? Are you a what is my word I'm looking for? Are you a professional or educated on what's an influencer, or how do you become an influencer?
Me personally, I say influencer because I'm very transparent. I share the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have people that don't share that information, but I'm willing to share my been through to get to my breakthrough. So if you can be transparent when sharing certain things, that'll help influence others.
Girl, you kind of just touched me there. Ooh, all right, all right. Well, as a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
The most significant barrier in my career, as everybody know, saying yes to everything. I'm always saying yes to everything. If my boss gives me something, talking about at work, I say yes. You know, sometimes I want to say no, but that's my barrier there. I need to really tap into saying no certain times, because sometimes if you're trying to do too much, you will become overwhelmed. And I was at that point before where I became overwhelmed, so that's my barrier, saying no.
Do you believe that's a weakness?
I think it is. I think that is a weakness for me. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about purpose. What is purpose to you?
To me, purpose is stepping out on faith, walking heavy, knowing what you want. Everything that you do has to have a purpose behind it. Don't just do it because you see someone else doing it. Make sure that there's purpose behind everything you do. For example, when I go out in the community and feed the homeless, my purpose is to make them smile. My purpose is to make them feel good and also feel full. You know, even if they're not eating, just sharing great words of encouragement with them. That's my purpose.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Do you believe that you can live in your purpose and not be conscious?
I do think so. I can live in my purpose, because when you're doing it, when you're doing things from your heart, you can easily live within your purpose.
What about being conscious?
Being
with it?
conscious. I think being conscious, living, when you say being conscious, elaborate on that just a little.
I mean, you can, it's like having the form of godliness and being denied the power. So it's like being a vessel with an empty vessel, as opposed to a vessel that's full with spirit. When I talk about conscious, walking in your purpose and being awakened and know why you walking in that purpose, the reason, the very meaning behind it, and the existence behind it, and every synonym and definition of it.
Of it. Okay. Gotcha. So with me, before I do anything, I pray. I always ask God to lead me first before I try to do anything by myself. So being conscious, my consciousness of it, I think I'm at a good point with it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So do you have children?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have 4 children. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I have an 11-year-old son. I have a son that's going to be 14 next week on the 11th, and my oldest is 15.
Okay. Well, with everything that's going on with the protesting, excuse me, I'm sorry, and dealing with Black Lives Mattering, how are you educating them?
Well, they've actually, my kids, the 2 oldest, they know more than I thought they knew. So we talk to them a lot about the situations that's going on. We've always told them to be careful where they go. So just educating them on it, making them be aware as to what's going on around them. I don't want them to be scared when they see the cops, but I want them to pay attention when they're out in public, period.
How do they feel about the looting and not the good protesting, but the breaking in the buildings and the stealing. How do they feel about that?
So on yesterday, I took them up to Auburn Place Mall in Douglasville, Georgia. I took them over there, and they were like, "Mom, I hope they're not looting. That's bad what they're doing." But they were not looting on this end. They had it very well organized. I don't know who was the organizer over the event here at Auburn Place Mall, but it was very well organized. They even got out and took pictures with the National Guards, and they spoke to the National Guards about what's going on. So they were able to not only get insight from us as to what's going on, they were also able to speak to the National Guards.
Oh, wow. So they don't really fear law enforcement, but you're educating them about what could happen.
Yes, we're educating them on the possibilities. Make sure you're paying attention when you're out. Making sure, right now I'm telling them I was nervous. I won't lie. I was nervous. I cried about the situation because I said I have boys. But once I started praying more and talking to my mom and also my husband, I said, you know what? We have strong boys, so they'll know what to do in certain situations. We've just been talking to them, and they're very strong-minded. My 11-year-old on the other hand, he's been questioning what's going on a lot more than the oldest two. Yeah, he's been questioning. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel or do you believe that this protesting is purpose-driven?
Well, I'll say some of them are, but then the ones where they're looting, why are you looting? What is that going to change? That's not going to change anything. But the one that was done here in Douglasville, Georgia, in my area, that was actually one that was organized. You had the National Guards there. You had the chief of police there. They were breaking it down, explaining to the community the do's and the don'ts. How can we get past this situation that's going on?
Do you feel that it's necessary?
I think it's necessary.
For us to, let's say, move to a new chapter in life. Do you feel it's necessary?
I feel like the protesting is necessary, but moving forward so quick, no, I don't think we should just move forward, because that's just letting things just go underneath the rug. There has to be something done about the situation that's going on. You need to get the community together and just implement something that could help with what's going on. How can we cope with it? How can we bring the youth together, the ones that are really going out doing looting? How can we get them together to show them another way?
Okay. Well, this next question I think will go hand in hand with that. A lot of our young people feel like the older people, the way they marched and protest peacefully and non-violently, it hasn't gotten us anywhere. So they believe that bringing violence, destruction, and destroying is the way to go. If you had to awaken someone right now to explain to them, okay, this is not, but try this way, what would that be?
If I had to awaken someone, the violence that's not going to stop anything. That's going to make the crime rate go up. It's going to go up. We need to figure out a way to organize something. We need to put something into play that will help build a community, and let this be another learning lesson. Try to figure out what we can do besides, beating each other up, tearing up the buildings. Half of the buildings that were torn up were small businesses. And those small businesses, that's the only income some of those small businesses have. That's how they're sending their kids to school,
right.
Or, sports. That's how they're doing those things. So beating up a building that's not gonna help anybody. That's gonna make the owner of that business mad.
Okay. Well, I guess as an influencer, how would you influence?
How would I influence? When it comes down to politics, I really don't have a lot to say about that.
But I don't believe this is a political thing. This is a community thing.
It's a community
thing. This is a life thing, because this is going to change some lives, and not for the better.
Yeah.
It's going to cause people to end up in prison or even dead. So I'm asking, everybody is saying, oh, we need to come up with something. At some point, everybody's saying we need to come up with something. Is someone going to come up with something?
That's the
It has
thing.
nothing to do with politics. It has to do with community getting together, talking, rallying, figuring it out.
But what happens after the rallies, though? Are they going to really push to make a change? We need strong
That
people.
still has to be a part of the community to make those, to put those plans into action. I mean, action that's the word, action.
Yes.
Rally, talk, come up with a, like they do in business. Have your message board and just start brainstorming and putting some things on there, and then go about how we're going to do it.
Right.
Because, I mean, every day I'm on social media, the news, everyone is talking about what we're going to do, who's going to do it, but it's going to take someone to actually step out, be an individual, and just do it. It doesn't have to have an age requirement or a gender, but somebody needs to. And I promise you, this is something that's wanted and needed so badly that you'll have the following that you need.
Yes.
We're going to talk about your book. I was stating before that Miss Jessica Hill is an author. She's wrote the book, Leave the Door Cracked. So without telling too much about the book, tell me, what does Leave the Door Cracked mean? And how did you come up with that?
Okay, so for Leave the Door Cracked, it's basically my life, me growing up, some obstacles I faced from, 8 till until now, when I got married 4 years ago. That's what that book is talking about. And it's basically me growing up without my father in the house. And I got the title of the book from one of my passengers. I was driving, when I was telling you I drove for Uber back last year. I started driving for Uber. And one of my passengers, she was in the car talking to her stepson. He's dealing with it with his mom, going through similar situations as I've dealt with my dad. And I heard her tell him, you know what, don't give up on your mom. Leave the door cracked. So with Leave the Door Cracked, I'm not giving up on my father. That door is still open for him to come back, and we can rebuild a relationship. We can build a relationship. We're just going to leave the past in the past. We're going to talk about it because I have questions that I would like to get answered, but the door is still cracked for him to come back in.
Well, how is that going? Well, before we answer that question, we got to pay some bills. So we're going to go on break, and we'll be back.
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rearview mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? You have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word? Do you have content ready but need exposure? Get to know me. I'm Alicia, host of a new Facebook live stream show called The Flavor, where we promote local and international talent of all genres. Here are some rules and regulations to the videos that we'll be accepting. They must be radio ready, no cursing, no lewd language. You must send us contact information as well as a YouTube link to your video so we can extract it from there. Email us at 1061tv@gmail.com, and we thank you for your time. Are you an artist, a writer of spoken?
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat, and once again, my special guest is Miss Jessica Hill. We're discussing her book, Leave the Door Cracked, and we were talking about it has to do with the relationship that she was seeking with her dad, and what we left out is I wanted to know how is that relationship going? I mean,
Well, I hadn't spoke to him in 4 years. Last I spoke to him back in November 4 years ago. And it's so funny, I was on the talk show, the radio station the other day, your radio station. And I don't know if he was listening, but I got a call from him. Yeah, and I kind of ignored it because I wasn't ready. It was kind of shocking. And it wasn't a phone call, it was actually a social media. He contacted me on Facebook.
okay.
So when he contacted me on Facebook, he sent me a friend request. I prayed about it. Next morning I accepted it, and the conversation that we had, it's still kind of rough. But I told him that I would like to meet up with him so we can look, each other in the face and talk like adults.
Wow. So has he reached back out to you?
He did. Last night he reached back out to me, but we haven't set up anything to talk. We haven't discussed the date yet that we're going to meet. But I would love to meet him because I would like for that to be a series to my book.
Okay. So was this book written in pain or in hurt?
It was written, while writing that book, I went through every emotion you could think of. I remember the good times as a kid when he would take me. You remember Sunland Park?
Yes, I do.
He would take me up to Sunland Park, and I would play in the park, I remember, and he would be with his girlfriend while I'm playing. But he would always look to make sure that I was okay, sliding the slide. I do remember those good times, but I remember, the no-shows. I remember I'm coming to pick you up, I'm bringing you money, I'll be at your graduation. I remember those things. Those things did hurt, but as I've grown, I've gotten better, I've gotten stronger, and after writing that book, I actually healed.
Wow. Wow. So the book was healing.
Yes, ma'am, it was a healing process.
So for those little girls that's going through that same thing, what would you tell them now?
I would tell them now, don't give up, have hope. If you can be the bigger person and reach out to your dad, try to do that. Try to build that relationship. Try to grab some rapport with him.
Okay. How long did it take you to change and have that mindset?
It took a while. It took a while because I was like, you know what? I'm not begging him. You know, I'm not going to reach out to him. That's my dad. He should be reaching out to me. But I said somebody has to be the bigger person in this situation.
Do you have another father figure in your life?
I do. My brother's dad, Antoine Session, he's in Pompano Beach, Florida. He's from Pompano Beach, Florida. He actually stepped up to the plate. He was in the house, you know, with my mom before him and my mom separated. But he was there for me like a dad. But my father-in-law is just that guy. You know, he's that guy. He calls, you know, I call him, he texts, I text him. We're always in contact with each other. And like he always tell me, I'm not your father-in-law, I'm your dad. You can call me dad. You don't have to call me Mr. Hill, you know. So him being there for us, for my kids, and, you know, just being the dad that I didn't have, it's amazing. It is.
Is your father-in-law enough?
I won't say he's enough because I still want that relationship with my dad. As I see my daughter, you know, I see what my daughter gets from her dad. So I'm like, even though she's a little girl, I didn't have that then, but I admire that relationship that my husband and my daughter, they have. Mm-hmm. So I'm 34 this year, and I said, you know what, there's still room for me and my dad to have that same fun, maybe more. We can go on a cruise. We can go to New York. We can, you know, walk around at the park and just do stuff together. Even though I'm this big girl now, a woman now, there's still time.
Wow. That's deep. I mean, so many children. And that's important for little girls, especially in those years where they're starting middle school, they're going to high school, and just having that, the dad to be able to tell them when the little boy has hurt their feelings and they have the biggest crush on him, and to be able to say, Daddy, you know, you should be able to talk to your dad about everything. So I'm really happy that your daughter actually, and your sons especially, have that in their dad, especially with this day and age, for him to be able to educate the sons.
Yes.
We know it's scary right now. So to have good men stepping up and still being there in their children's lives is incredible. Incredible. Or for anyone that steps up as that father or as that mother, because I believe truly that it is God's blood that runs through us that makes us blood and family, not something just being biological or what I call the sperm donor. Right. But so anyone can step in and do the job and nurture our future.
Yes.
Really. So what's next for Leave the Door Cracked? Is there a book tour? Are you going to be doing a Zoom tour? With everything opening up, what's the next?
So what's next? I have a bunch of books that were ordered prior to COVID. So I'm actually going to start getting those out. But I'm setting up right now, I'm setting up with my PR an actual book signing at the City Winery. Hopefully it opens soon because I want to launch that for my birthday. And my birthday is August 15th. So I want to do a book signing to launch that, not to launch that book, but to sell that book also and to launch my new book.
That's a beautiful thing during Leo season.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, I guess that's going to be soon because it looks like things are opening up now. Wow. I'm excited for you. So, I know that you're also working on another book. Tell us about that.
So with the other book, it's called Girl, Hold Your Head Up. And this book is urban fiction, but it's something that goes on every day. It's about a young girl growing up, mom in the streets, dad in the streets. Mom was murdered in the book. She was bullied. The Tina, her name is Tina Lee. Character in the book, main character in the book, her name is Tina Lee, growing up in Pompano Beach, Florida.
Oh my
goodness. She grew up in Pompano Beach, Florida, grew up in the Georgia, what is it? They call it the Golden Acres Projects. You ever heard of the Golden Acres Project?
Yes.
Okay, so she grew up in the Golden Acres Projects. Dad was a big-time drug dealer. Mom was a private dancer. She was bullied. She went to Ely High School.
Oh, goodness.
So there, you'll hear in this book, you'll hear a few different things. You'll hear different towns. If you're from Pompano or surrounding areas of Pompano, you'll hear different streets that you know of. You'll hear different corner stores that you know of in this book. But what she went through and who she became at 21 is it was a great outcome at the end of that book.
You know, those urban fictional books, it's something about them. They become the best sellers. I think those are my really favorite books to read. I like to read something that's going to keep me going, where I can take that book and read it in a night. I love
that book. I'm looking for that book to be a movie. My friend, she read some of the book. I let her read chapter 1. She said, I feel like it's a movie. So we're going to work on getting that on the screen.
Well, we're going to talk about that when we get off today. That's something we need to discuss.
Okay.
Wow. So many things, so many things. I understand that you have your master's is in the medical field?
Yes, so I hold a bachelor's in healthcare administration with a concentration in long-term care. And I also have a master's degree in healthcare administration with a concentration in healthcare informatics.
Wow. Do you want to do anything with that?
I went back. So I left corporate America. I have a thing for healthcare. I left corporate America back in August of last year. I went back. I applied for the VA months ago, and they reached out to me to start. I started in April. So it's my passion. Helping, it's my passion. I love helping people. So when they called me, I couldn't resist it. So I'm actually in my field of study now.
That's awesome, especially for our veterans, because some of them are really pitiful, and they need someone to guide them and help them.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. So where do you see yourself in 1 to 3 years?
1 to 3 years, I see myself, I'll still be here in Georgia. That's my goal, to have a house here in Georgia. I'm going to also start my own medical billing and coding company. I want to still launch that in 3 years, tops. And I see myself staying at the Veteran Affairs and just retiring with them.
Okay, so you want to make a career out of it?
I want to make a career out of it, yes.
Okay, and gain your experience in the same token. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So I guess let's go back to these current events and what's going on with the protesting. The looting. The looting, the stealing, just destroying your community. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel good about it at all. Because you know what's sad is they're looking at us thinking that it's us that's doing it, but if you're looking at the videos, if you're looking at the news, and you see, it's people coming from other areas that's doing that. It's half of them are not people right here from Atlanta.
What do you think the reason for them trying to bamboozle us?
I think the reason is because, as you stated earlier, they didn't see nothing in the past change, so they think them doing this will help, and I don't see how it'll help. Hurting companies, hurting businesses, hurting people, because people are behind these businesses. This is not going to help.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Yeah, hurt people, yep.
What is the answer?
That's the thing. The question is, how can we get an answer?
Well, it doesn't look like it's starting with the leader of this United States of America, so it has to start with us, each individual city, making sure you vote, making sure that you're talking to these candidates, seeing, what is their purpose? What is their purpose for the community? What is their purpose for actually running? And what do they want to do in the community? It is time that, and I believe that if you start city after city after city, every election primary, it doesn't matter who the president is, but it matters who's sitting in these Senate seats, who's sitting in the Congress seats, in the House of Reps, and your mayor. But before we go into that any further, it's time to pay the bills. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Hi, I'm Harry Lennox, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network.
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat, and I'm here with my special guest, Miss Jessica Hill. Say hey.
Hello, everyone.
So we were talking about just things that's going on and the answer to what's going on. And I was stating that it starts with each city, each community. If you're doing each city, each community, then you get a whole state. Once that state and everybody, and it becomes a domino effect, that's how you're going to be able to make changes. Mm-hmm. If you got people running and you don't know their purpose and you don't know their vision and they're trying to represent you as a community and they don't even know what the community needs, that's where you start. Voting is so important.
So important, yes.
That's something that we definitely need to do. Do you feel like you want to join political office?
I would help. I would be with political. I would be probably on the backside. Like I'll be behind the scenes, sharing my ideas, but being on the front line, I wouldn't.
No.
No.
That's just not you.
No, that's not me with politics.
Why not?
Everybody say they can see that in me, but I don't see that in me.
Because no one is saying that you have to be a politician. Mm-hmm. A person that just want to represent their city and their community.
Definitely, I'll do that.
That's a politician.
Yeah,
I mean, that's someone. You don't have to be into the politics or the tricks of the politics or the lying of the politics, but just stepping out, being the forefront. Somebody has to be a leader.
Yes.
So maybe it's someone that this is your community. You know what's going on in your community. You know that Sister Johnson down the street just lost her dog, and Sister Adderson down on 4th Avenue, her daughter's getting ready to have a baby, and you know everything that goes on in your community. Then that should be something, you're the leader of that community, and you can be the voice for your community.
For the community, yes.
This is something you need to think about.
Yeah.
You know, everybody think, when it comes to politics, that you have to be a politician. No, you can be just a normal person that want to see change in your community. And I believe that's what's needed to stop some of this. Mm-hmm. We won't have the Senate majority leaders following the mess that our leader of this world country is doing. Because he know that there's an election coming around,
yes.
And you know what? People are going to remember what I'm doing. But if they think they're just running everything, then it becomes a difference. So something you may want to think about.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Yeah.
So, have you been down to Atlanta to any of that protesting, or just locally?
No, I haven't gone to the protesting in Atlanta. I've only been to the one in Douglasville. After leaving work on Friday, I actually work in that area. So if I would have left work 3 minutes later, I would have gotten caught up in it.
What did you see
So I saw, when I left work, I actually saw people, I saw the cops slanted across the road. They were blocking roads. And then when we turned down Auburn Avenue, I actually saw people just standing out there sitting on cars. You had people writing on signs, you know, to hold up. And I said, they're getting ready to protest. By the time I got home, and it only takes me 24 minutes to get from there to Douglasville. By the time I got to Douglasville, you saw them doing everything you could think of. Burning cars on the news, burning cars, you know, running everywhere, holding up signs, throwing bottles and, you know, breaking windows and stuff. You saw it. So, yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
You know, it's a shame that they feel like this is the answer in order for 3 other officers to be charged. Mr. George Floyd, his life mattered.
Yes.
And to watch an officer murder him. I mean, if you looked in his face, you saw the evil in his face. It was almost as if the devil had just taken over him. He had his hand in his pocket, and his whole thing was murder. I'm going to kill you. How do you have that type of heart, that type of spirit, Lord have mercy, to make you want to kill someone, and you don't care that you're being watched, you don't care that you're being videotaped? It does not matter.
It doesn't. No.
Do you hate us that much to just, I'm going to murder you? And then also I saw today they have new footage of how they beat him inside the back of the
police car.
The police
yeah,
car.
I saw that. Yeah, they did.
There's no reason. There's no reason. There's no reason for that. And I love my black family. I love my black people. It does not matter. We are the kings and queens of the planet Earth. And maybe that's why they have a problem with us, because we are God's chosen. Yes, we are. We are a chosen generation, and we are the kings and queens of the Bible. God is our Father. Yes. And they know it, and eventually the truth is going to come out. You know, and that's why they're holding on, because they were only given 6,000 years to rule. And with that 6,000 years, their time is up. So of course the devil want to be in the land doing what he need to do, causing havoc all over, because he know his time is up. So it's just the Bible being played out, prophecy is being played out. But this coronavirus, what are you doing to keep your children safe, to keep, are you homeschooling? How is that going?
So they've been out of school, you know, before school just closed. They were sent home the second week of March to do homeschooling. And now I understand what the teachers say. So I'm not a parent that believes everything my child says to me or do. Oh, Mama, I didn't do that. So now when the teacher said Brian, when they would call home and say Brian would not put his phone down while sitting in the classroom. And when Brian would get home, and I would say, Brian, why wouldn't you put your phone up? You're in the classroom when you're supposed to be focused. Mom, I didn't have my phone out. But when they were home, I was home. So I was able to see how they move. I was able to see him doing his work on the laptop, but he had his phone like this for a little bit. Then he put the phone down, he's doing it again. So now I see what the teachers are talking about. I think the teachers need a raise, because having 4 kids at home, everybody on the laptop. Are you done with your assignment? Did you turn your assignment in? Did you do? It's a lot of work.
I think parents are seeing that teachers need to be appreciated a lot more. You know, when I was a child, being a teacher and educator, that was something significant.
Yes.
And for some reason, I don't know, parents decided that teachers were the babysitters and that they were supposed to do everything that should have started in the home in the beginning.
Yes.
I thank God for educators, and I think next year, and when school opened back up for the new season, for the new school year, I don't think they're going to have any problems with parents being unruly and telling them off, because they're seeing what their children are doing firsthand. So the teachers are not being untruthful.
Yeah. And with COVID also, we kept the kids in the house. We were in the house. We were afraid to leave the house, thinking we would get sick. The numbers were down in Douglasville a lot, but we were still scared. That's why I stopped driving Uber. I was making $1,200 to $1,300 a week driving for Uber.
The money is
good.
good.
But when that happened, I said no, and I'm going to stay home. And now with me working in the field again, when I come home, I take everything off before I go and do anything in the house. I take everything out. I still right now I take a shower and go. But my grandmother, when I called her with it, she said, Jessica, I'm going to tell you something. She said, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. You can cover your feet, your face, your nose, whatever it is. But when it's your time, you can't run from it. So that right there enlightened me a little bit to stop doing too much when I come home.
But do you agree with that?
I agree with her. I solely agree with her. Even though this virus is going on, I still take precautionary measures, being that I work in the field, in the healthcare field. So I still take safety measures when I'm out there in the field.
Well, I believe that everyone has a date. You have your birth date, then you have your death date.
Yeah.
One date you know, one date you don't. However, with a virus that was spreaded, whether it was by accident or not, which causes your body to shut down or kill you, was that actually your time to go? Or is it another form of murder?
That's a good question.
I mean, I feel like COVID-19 has killed a lot of people, and someone is responsible for that. I mean, I don't think people have thought about it, but someone's blood is on somebody's hands. A lot of people have lost their lives still battling for their lives. My very best friend, my sister, passed away April 10th. She had been in the hospital. She had been very sick, and it got to the point where her heart just couldn't take it no more, and it just stopped. And some days I wake up and I just really can't believe that she's gone, because we had so many plans and things to do, and I'm like, you know what? Someone killed her.
Yeah.
And that's the way that's the way I look at it. That's because, you know what, when you're in these labs and you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, and if whether it was I'm having a conspiracy theory going on, but I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
Now, when you speak on it more, I know a few people that contracted COVID, and one lady I know, she survived. My classmate, he's still struggling right now with it. You know, they put him in a rehab facility now, and he's 34. So I just try to be precautious, going anywhere.
You have to
going anywhere, even with my kids. Like my daughter, she's down in Florida right now. But she's with family. But I'm like, Lauren, wash your hands. Lauren, make sure to do this, do that. Because it could easily happen.
Really?
Easily.
Especially with the risk and it coming back. My
and they're saying
God.
It's going to be another form of it coming.
Yeah, that's going to even be worse.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to predict that it's coming back.
It's man-made.
What horrible person would want to kill off the population? And what's the purpose? Purpose is so important.
Yep.
Anything that you do, there's a purpose.
There's a purpose, yes.
Whether it was a good purpose, bad purpose. Purpose, that's why I stress and I talk about purpose so much, because you have a purpose for the reason you did that. Whoever came up with this virus and released it, whether it was released intentionally or not. And if it wasn't released intentionally, why wasn't we told in time? And if we were told in time, why wasn't the nation told so they could prepare a lot sooner? I remember seeing them talking about the virus in December. And all of a sudden, America, here it go, and it kills some people. But people don't realize that when you take a life, and it wasn't that time because you didn't give that life, and it wasn't time for that person's life to be taken, you got to pay. How do you feel about that?
My take on that, they should be held accountable. Because if they can predict, like you said, if they can predict, oh, there's another strand coming and it's going to be worse. This is something being done, put together in labs. And I can't say much, but it's something CDC knows. I'll just say it to say that they know what's going on.
And then I say, okay, why are you opening everything back up fully when you know it's getting ready to come right back and kill us again? You should already have a game plan in the making, in the works. I remember hearing President Obama saying that when he left the White House, he had already given the manual to the new administration on if there's an infectious disease or something that happens, how to deal with it. And it was completely ignored because of who it came from.
Wow.
That is the most ignorant, idiotic thing you ever want to see. But it's time to take a break. Got to pay some bills. We'll be back.
So many Black lives incarcerated. So many Black lives silenced. When will we stop the madness?
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat, and once again, I'm here with my special guest, Miss Jessica Hill. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about everything that's going on in our communities and in our world today, and the purpose of this going on. As I stated before, there's purpose for any and everything you do. So we're talking about the COVID-19 and what was the purpose of releasing it to kill people? What was the purpose of all of a sudden opening all the cities and states back, knowing that you have a strand coming back that's going to be even worse? So is your purpose really to kill off a certain population? Is it to kill off the black man of America? Is it to kill off what you call the undesirable white people? What is your purpose of opening a city back up in a time of crisis? Can you talk about that?
Well, when you think about, when you mention killing up a certain people, the blacks, the elderly people, think about it. If they kill them off, no Social Security, they can't get what they've worked so hard for. So that's something to think about.
But that's surface. Look at it like this, and this is one thing I was talking about, being conscious. Not only living in your purpose, but also being conscious. Are you conscious? If you kill off the elderly people who has the wisdom, to teach the younger generation. If you get them out the way, and then the younger generation is not ready to rule and to take over, where does that leave us? Back in a slavery type mind. We'll end up back in Egypt wandering for another 400 years, and that's what they're thinking that's going to happen. But thank God we got a Savior that's coming. He's coming. So how do you feel about that?
I just feel like it needs to stop. People, or scientists, whoever is over this whole COVID, it just needs to stop because it's taking lives. And like you said, it's probably not even their time. Some of these lives that are being taken, you know. If we don't have the elderly, like I go to my grandmother for resources all the time or wisdom all the time. Right. So if I don't have her, who do I look to now? I look to my mom, but my mom even looks to my grandmother. Okay. So just think about what we would lose. Absolutely. You know, everybody look at money as wealth. I look at me being rich in blood. My grandmother is my wealth. That's who I go to for everything.
And there's truly a difference between being rich and being wealthy, because everything starts in the mind. You can have physical, material things, money, and not be wealthy.
Exactly.
You could just be surface. I call it living on the surface.
Living on the surface.
But this is something we really need to dig deeper into. And when we talk about having we should call it a conscious board, and just throw out some ideas on there, because remember, everything that's physical has a spiritual side, and if you don't know that, then that becomes where there's a problem. To know, okay, this is going on physical, but spiritually, okay, God, what are you telling us? What, because He's talking. Are we listening?
Yeah.
So, when are you going to get that started, Miss Influencer? Because you are the influencer.
It's crazy that you mentioned that. My friend Kim, she reached out to me twice. Twice since this has been going on, and she said, Jessica, we need to do something. We need to get the sheriffs involved. We need to get some ladies together, some men together in the community, and execute. Like she said, everybody is talking about what they're going to do, but nobody is doing anything. She said, let's start, and everybody will come to us. We can just start now. Let's plant the seed, is basically what she said. So tonight when I get home, I'll actually call her. She may be on live right now watching, and I'll talk to her, and we can go ahead and get started with my husband, her husband. We have people like Terry, who's running for commissioner. We can get these people to come in and talk with us and help us build a better community.
Absolutely. I know with the social distancing that we have going on, it's hard to get these people that's running for office and everything into one spot, but maybe to have a Q&A on Zoom, a meet and greet on Zoom for each one of these people that's coming into the community, all of a sudden run. Do they live in the community, or do they just have an address in the community? Do they actually know what the problem is in the community? Have they met with the chief of police, talked to them about the crime? Is there any crime? Are the people being harassed? Talk to the Hispanic and the black people to find out, okay, are you being treated unfairly? And with all these questions that's going on, okay, in this Zoom Q&A, okay, candidate, this is the concerns that the community have. And if they can't answer those questions straight, then that's not the candidate that you want.
Exactly.
And move right along and find somebody else that's willing, because we got enough trash in office right now, and there's no better way to even say it. Anyone that doesn't care, you know what? You have to have character.
Yes.
A good character, a moral character, being excellent in your life, being good. And if you didn't have these qualities before you ran, what was the purpose of you running?
Yeah.
And then to get in, knowing that you're not a good person.
Right.
This has got to stop.
Yes.
And it has to stop now. November elections are here. I mean, we have early voting going on right now for different judge, superior court judge, magistrate, probate, tax commissioners. Before this should have been already going on before early voting start. Q&A, debates. Come on, how much do you know about your community since you're running?
Right.
Are you running for a paycheck? Are you running for a clout? Are you running for what comes with being in office? What is your purpose? I tell people all the time, one day somebody's going to open up a dictionary and they're going to look up purpose and understand how important purpose is.
Yes.
When you know the purpose and you know everyone's purpose, then you'll know we are better able to kind of look and see people for who they really are.
Yes.
So, this is something you're getting ready to do. How can we get your book? Leave the door cracked.
So to get my book, I have a website. You can go to www.authorjessicahill.com. You can find it there. And also, I'm setting up on my Facebook page, I'm going to set up a group just for my author side of me. I'm going to set up a group and you'll be able to order through that page. I'm actually going to start that tonight.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that, Miss Jessica. I thank you so much for coming on and being a blessing. And you continue to be a blessing.
Thank you.
And I tell you all the time, start thinking about yourself because you have such a beautiful spirit, a wonderful heart. But if you're not thinking about yourself,
there won't be a me.
What's your purpose in it?
Mm-hmm.
What is your purpose? I mean, I understand to help people, to be charitable. Those are good purposes. Those are good qualities and characteristics. But when you forget about who you are, and then you've ran yourself into the grave, and then all people can say is, oh, you know what? She did this, and she thought about everybody else. And the reason she's lying there now is because she don't think about herself. So please don't ever stop. You're young. You got so much more living to do. And right now we need young females as yourself. Let me ask you this. Before we get out of here, what would you tell young women? What type of legacy could you leave behind for them right now? Tell the viewers now, what kind of legacy can you leave behind for future young women?
For future young women, one, as I keep saying and you've mentioned, don't forget about you. Even if you're doing something right now and it's not growing, don't give up. Because when your time comes, it will be there and it'll be there to stay. You just have to push through all of your hard times. Your tears, blood, it will require blood, sweat, and tears, but don't give up. You will have some late nights, no sleep, crying, bank account may be decreasing, but don't give up. Put more into you before you put into others. Always put more into you before you try to put into everyone else in the world.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. What will you tell your future self?
I would tell my future self to just keep going, keep growing, keep smiling. Don't forget about you, and keep that in the back of my head. I won't forget about me in this time. As we see, as my grandfather used to always say, time is winding up. As we see the things that are going on, I got to keep pushing for me. I have to be me, and not change for anybody else. Just to love on me first before I love on anybody.
Do you think 2021 is going to be different?
I think it is, but 2020, there has been some misshapes, mishaps, but you can get through this. 2021 is going to be powerful because we'll be able to come back from these lessons learned. We'll be able to come back from and go harder.
You know what? I pray so.
Yes.
Because 2020 has been a horrific year so far. And not even necessarily for reasons of our own, but I think everyone has been through a storm. Something has happened that caused you to kind of be shaken and be like, okay, let me really get myself together because, wow.
Yeah, 2020 has taught me to save more. Because I was making good money, I was spending good money. I know you know what I mean by that.
Yes, ma'am.
So with this going on, it's like, okay, we got to save because we don't know if our job is going to close. We don't know if we can get unemployment and how long will it last. Will we qualify? So those are things you can look forward to, but why look forward to that when you can save your money and just be prepared for the hard times like this?
Well, I think I'm going to say this. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say this. I believe that if number 45 makes it in for another 4 years, that he is going to cause the U.S. dollar to fail.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I think everyone needs to invest in gold and silver. You will still be able to pay your bills, still be able to take care of your family if the dollar fails. If our banking system goes down and you're unable to get to your money, what happens? People, we really need to think about these things. What happens? You can't get out, your money is in the bank, gold and silver. Gold always is strong. No matter where you go in the world, you can live off gold. And I think, well, we'll talk about this next week. I thank everyone for watching. I thank you, Miss Jessica Hill, for being here with me. And thank you, and continue to live in your purpose. I am Dr. Pat.
Across the world and beyond.